In 1980, Gary Moore paused his nascent solo career to form the rock combo G-Force, and from their singular self-titled album, the track Because of Your Love. Okay, now I just love the crackling, fuzzy sizzle of that. It's like that guitar tone. It's like a fountain burst. As a matter of fact, it sounds more like the fuzzy after effects of a riff than actual like power chords. It's hard to explain.
Don't you break me, leave me shaking like a leaf on a tree. I can't face it, I can't make you fall in love with me. Late at night when I retire, baby, your eyes set me on fire. I know I never felt much higher because of your love. Because of your love.
Okay, quite an assured masculine voice right there, and it is sung by, let's see, the band was assembled originally between Gary Moore and Glenn Hughes, but that didn't last very long. That didn't get past rehearsals, and Hughes was replaced by Willie Dee, formerly of Captain Beyond, and yeah, he sings vocals, and the track was written by between him, Tony Newton, and Dwayne Hitchings. Yeah, Tony Newton, formerly of Tony Williams' New Lifetime. So this is quite a supergroup here.
It's no wonder, girl, with a single kiss you can't make me breathe. Please don't tease me, say that you need me, I'm on my knees. You know you made me sacrifice everything I knew was right. Now I can't eat or sleep at night because of your love. Because of your
I love the way he extends those vowels, like on the word love. Yeah, really commanding vocalist, kind of in the vein kind of like that guy from Gamma. I am just amazed by the guitar tone that Gary Moore is laying all over this. More so than on any of his solo albums. There seems to be like a lot of effects and processing at work. And I'm also impressed by the kind of upper end clarity for a recording made just on the brink of the calendar 80s. I mean, it sounds like it could have been recorded about 4 years later. Yeah, with that like high end sheen that it has going. Basically hard rock entering the new decade without missing even a week.
Please won't you set me free? I'm riding on stormy sea. I'm all broke up inside from all the tears I've cried. I'm in
What is creating that sound? It almost sounds like an EBO or something, except played in a very different setting than I'm used to hearing it. This is Gary Moore, guitar, leading backing vocals, keyboard, and string arrangements. And let's see, he's the only one playing any sort of guitar. Willie Dee, in addition to vocals and bass, is credited with keyboards and Korg bass synthesizer. Yeah.
Won't you set me free?
Okay, if I was to compare the whole like sonic environment to anything, perhaps it would be those mid '70s recordings of say Automatic Man and early Journey, pre Perry. And that there's that kind of like smoldering, almost like spacey effect. Except this has much more of like that high end clarity as I was describing. It sounds like it's from the '80s as opposed to the mid '70s. Um, and yeah, just the way that guitar just like sizzles and crackles from every corner, and how the sustain of it all and the effect is felt and heard more than the actual strum, the actual. So there's only a few moments of Gary Moore's playing on this where I could actually like feel like the string, like on some of those bendy notes in the middle. But other than that, it's more like the after effects of a guitar, of like a guitar strum, and or of like multiple ones, like probably like a lot of multi layers, and it sounds maybe kind of electronically processed in a way, and kind of more experimental than he would get on his solo albums for the most part.
I need your loving. I need your loving, need your loving.
Okay, it was those kind of like wah breaks, those kind of like funky moments right here that had me thinking of Automatic Man all of a sudden. Yeah, kind of like a wah wah break like that, and like stop start, and then with all those like spacey sounds just kind of like swirling around it, and also notice the drumming, very cymbal laden drumming there of Mark Nauseef, who had been in the Ian Gillan band and Elf, and yeah, and funny enough, some interesting people also credited. Joachim Kahn is credited with additional keyboards. It doesn't specify which, and it says the Ox on marimba. On this one goofy little track called Hot Gossip, I'm wondering though, if the Ox, is that supposed to be the Ox, as in the quiet one, John Entwistle? Anyway, yeah, I don't know of him playing that instrument actually. Let's hear another track from the album, the ballad I Look at You.
Sometimes I feel so lonely. Sometimes I feel so lost. Sometimes there seem so many bridges to be crossed. But then I look at you. And I realize when I look at you that it's all worthwhile.
Okay, I just love the way that he curls those vowels, the slight melisma, like on the final vowel of each line, and I love the harmonies, that come in on that on the chorus line. I look at you. I guess Gary Moore. They're harmonizing with D, and also that staccato keyboard. Dun, na, 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 na. Yeah, we go from those like open cadences of the verse, like rhythmless, just a few kind of like oozing guitar lines coming in, and then we suddenly go into that kind of like really tight, kind of like rhythmically strong keyboard line, let's say, and there's still that kind of like suspended feel as the, and it's just going to start brimming more and more.
Sometimes I feel I'm losing. Sometimes I just can't win. Sometimes I feel like crying, and I just hold it in. But then I look at you. Look at you, and I realize when I look at you that it's all worthwhile.
Okay, I love how he was kind of altering the cadences of the lines, and it was kind of almost unpredictable. You would have to listen to this track many times to memorize exactly how he sings, like the chorus, like the second time versus the first. Like deciding to elongate certain words or certain syllables, and just being making it really genuine. Like he's not just reciting lyrics; he's putting real feeling into it.
When I look into your eyes, I see the signs of the love you have inside. It's hard to hide. You're my life. You're my reason for living. It's so right. All this love you've been giving, day and night. I'm always with you, and it's all
Okay, one word, intense. Okay, intense to the max. Intense, just over the limit. Yeah, I just love the build up that going from like that midsection, and just as the emotional intensity brims with each line, and then those, and then it just like explodes, and Gary Moore's guitar comes in with those lyrical like searing lines, and then the rising swell up of that, those like strings behind the band, and oh god, the most powerful moment on the album, and one of the most powerful passages in Gary Moore's career. I definitely like in the top 5.
sometimes I feel I'm losing. Sometimes I just can't win. Sometimes I feel like crying, and I just hold it in. But then I look at you. I look at you, and I realize when I look at
bit of harmonic pull-offs on the bass amid those chimes and the closing notes. God, I just love the way that that his lead vocals contrasted with the backing vocals. How Dee, he kept on going into those like lower notes and like curling the vowels, while the others were backing him up with those kind of higher voiced, more breathy harmonies, like and. And he would put a little bit of sass into it, a little bit of attitude, like on like on the word realize, the way he would stretch that out. Yeah, I would like demonstrate exactly what I'm thinking about, but I don't. I'm no match for him, so I'm not even gonna try. After, I'm not gonna tarnish the experience that we just had there. Yeah, I Look at You by G-Force, the centerpiece of their 1980 singular self-titled release. Yeah, an LA-based supergroup of transatlantic talent formed by Irish guitarist Gary Moore, who had just wrapped up another tour with Thin Lizzy. Always kind of like a gun for hire in that band. He a few years back he had been part of Coliseum 2 with John Heisman, and like doing some really fiery jazz rock, which you could say really put him on the map as a virtuoso to be reckoned with. Earlier in the '70s, he was in a blues rock band called Skid Row. Put out his first album in 1973, Grinding Stone, and then. Put out his first solo album in 1979, and then kind of momentarily paused his solo career for this project. I guess Thin Lizzy were on tour in America, and so he used his time there to try and establish a presence on the U.S. scene. Maybe because he felt that the UK music scene circa 1979, 1980 wasn't quite as conducive. I don't know if he was aware of the new wave of British heavy metal that was just about to explode. But ultimately, after this he would start putting out solo album after solo album, starting with Corridors of Power in 1982, and it was finally like his fourth solo album that finally put him way over the top in the UK and Europe. So it kind of like Chris Rea in a way. Finally, just kept plugging away, and finally in the mid '80s became a huge international star. Like about, I don't know, 8 albums in or something. And yeah, it goes to show that it just pays off to just keep doing what you love to do, and one day the world will catch up. And yeah, Gary Moore, great talent. I would love to hear, just this experience right here and how much it has made me pay attention to Willie Dee. I would like to explore what else he was doing more. Yeah, it would have been cool to have heard Glenn Hughes on this. I mean, hearing Glenn Hughes and Gary Moore on the same record would have been quite a treat, But I guess. Well, I guess they just didn't get along. It's not like the two of them had too big of egos to be in the same room together. I mean, because despite each of them having a lot of stature of their own, and they've both proven over the years to be team players as well as like leaders, and I guess it was just a personality conflict. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I guess the band didn't stay together very long after the release of this album, but they did tour with Whitesnake on that band's Ready and Willing tour of 1980. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, and then I guess right between this and Corridors of Power, Gary Moore was involved with Greg Lake on Lake's first solo album. Yeah, that's something to revisit. It's been a while. I've worked through it, but I don't have any earworms off the top of my head. Yeah, it's just. And that's so maybe next year when I'm doing, when 1981 comes up in the wheelbarrow. Yeah. Anyway, for more Rubies and Sapphires from the G-Force album, see the directory of albums from 1980. Yeah, it's in the 1980. It's not in the English directory. It's not in any of the national directories because it's just too multinational to really qualify anywhere. Yeah, I see the directory of albums from 1980, page 3, currently entry 333. Yeah, out of like 1,065 albums currently, I think, on the 1980 list. Yeah, big, great year, full of great albums. Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of albums that you can get into at your leisure. Just go to the page, go to the albums that interest you, highlight a red listed track, right click, search Google for, and it should bring up a YouTube video as the first search return in a secondary tab, and just, yeah, explore, yeah, whenever you want, yeah. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the 2 tracks we just heard. The intensity, the interplay, the fiery, sizzling guitar work and soloing, the charismatic vocals, and just the epic power of the 2 tracks we heard. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear travel maximalist, signing off.